Okay, I will call the meeting of the Ellsworth Township Trustees to order, and I'd ask everybody to join with me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll do a roll call to establish a quorum. Trustee Spellman.
Present.
Trustee Tone.
Present.
Trustee Houston. Present. Also present is Fiscal Officer Karen Gritty and Zoning Inspector Wayne Zarn. Want to welcome everybody here. It's nice to see you. You always are welcome. Tonight we have some guests with us, and so we're going to let them go ahead and go, and then if they want to stick around for the meeting, they're welcome to. If they don't, we understand. So to begin with, we have Commissioner Dave Ditzler and Jim Jarrett, and they're going to talk a little bit about the upcoming sales tax vote. So I'll turn it over to them.
Beautiful. Thank you. Appreciate it. I apologize. I try not to put my back to you. Appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come here and speak and interrupt your meeting. Take a little bit of time. But we did want to come to talk a little bit about the upcoming 0.5% sales tax renewal that's on the ballot. And it is a renewal. Currently, I like to make sure we're all aware that in Mahoning County, as in the whole state of Ohio, we have a 7% sales tax. And not in the whole state, 7% Mahoning County, of which in Mahoning County we get 1%. 5.75% goes to the state of Ohio, 0.25% goes to WRTA by vote, and so you're only paying back into Mahoning County 1% of our sales tax. And just recently, at the end of last year, I think it was the end of September, the state of Ohio increased your sales tax on the state's portion by 0.25%. No vote, no meetings, no opportunity for the public to know what their money is being spent on, no justification, they just impose it. So our sales tax, it's necessary to come out and to explain how we spend your money so that people know and have an opportunity to vote on that. Right now, I like to tell everybody that the sales tax, the 1%, brings in about $35 million, about 15 million, about 30 point something, 30 and a fraction, about 15 and a fraction each of the 0.5%. It's about $30 million. So the sales tax brings in about $30 million total, both 0.5%, and we spend $39 million on public safety. And what I mean by public safety, I mean the judicial system, the sheriff's department, and the prosecutor's office. The general fund is about $52 million, of which $39 million goes to public safety. The total general fund over the past, I want to say 10 years, has continued to decline in revenue. As the township here is well aware, loss of local government funds, loss of tangible personal property tax, loss of inheritance tax, all the losses that you face as a township. We too as a county lose the local government funds. The general fund in 2008, using that as our benchmark, was at $60 million. Today, going to 2014, we're at about $53 million certified. We've lost about almost $8 million over the years, and collectively, you add that up over the 5-year period using 2008 as our benchmark through 2013, we've lost $40 million in revenue coming into the county because of the cuts. The major cuts that we've seen are the local government fund. We lost $3 million. Investment revenue, just not making any money on your money. We've lost over $3 million. And federal funds, we've lost $4.2 million. So we've had almost a $10 million hit coming from last year into this year as a result of the cuts that have come, into Mahoning County. The 1% that we pay as Mahoning County in the sales tax, to Mahoning County for the sales tax, is not unique. Right now, there are 22 counties out of the 88 counties in the state of Ohio, 1%. There's 14 at 1.25 and 47 at 1.5. So there's 61 counties out of the 88 in the state of Ohio that have a higher sales tax that comes into their county to fund the county than Mahoning County does. So we're on the low end of the scale currently, and right now, with the renewal, we still find ourselves at a $1.5 million deficit to balance the budget going into 2014. And going into 2015, we're at a $5 million deficit using the same numbers. So we are well on our way to about a $6.5 million deficit going into 2015, and that's even with the renewal of the sales tax currently being passed. So the intentions were to look for additional revenues coming on to the ballot in the form of a sales tax, but we had a lot of meetings early on, and I think that similar to the townships, when you have police levies, fire levies, road levies that they're specifically earmarked for certain things, the feedback we got from the general populace was that people wanted the money earmarked. So we didn't have an opportunity because of the timing on the number of days before the election to change and to come out and propose an increase, say a 0.25% increase that would go to the justice system and only be able to be used for the sheriff's department or the judicial system or the prosecutor's office. So we opted not to put anything on the ballot in the form of an additional and just come back to the voters for the renewal of the 0.5%. It is the same tax that we currently have. The only difference being that it's being placed on the ballot for a continuous period, not for every 5 years. Because right now, just the numbers speak for themselves. We're at $39 million, expending $39 million annually out of the general fund for just public safety. So the $30 million that brings the 2.5% sales taxes bring in something that you're never going to go below from a standpoint of being able to provide the safety to the community. So we put it on for a permanent time frame. One thing I did want to go over, because I just had these made, and forgive me too, I wanted to talk a little bit about this. We all saw this in Sunday's paper, maybe we did or didn't see it, 760 pay hikes, top 3%. That was the Vindicator. When you talk about sensationalizing something and creating the story where there is none, if you look at, first of all, they took 2012 to 2013 as their numbers that they compared to, not coming into this year. So 12 to 13 as their benchmark. If you looked at 2009 going into 2013, the number of county employees was in 2009 1,957. Today it's at 1,668. We reduced it by almost 300 employees over that 5-year period in order to be able to balance the budget because of this. Now, the raises that they so-called, they used the benchmark of the entire county to dictate the 760 number, of which there's approximately $150 million totally in that number that funds all of the employees countywide. And that includes, MRDD, that includes the Mental Health Board, all the separate levies that come in that have nothing to do with the Mahoning County General Fund, nothing to do with the Mahoning County Commissioners who oversee, these numbers. And when you start to break down the number of this, and actually their 760 was 761 when we went through it today. 336 of those were non-general fund employees that are not under the county commissioners or the county general fund. Of those 336, 155 of those were what we call the PDRS flip. What happened is over all the years, and I'm sure the trustees know better than I do, that when you're negotiating contracts for safety forces, police, fire, road, any employees, what we always did as employers, as township trustees, being the employer, was we would recommend or try to offer in contract negotiations them, let us buy 1% of your PERS instead of giving you a 1% raise. Because if we gave you a 1% raise in your annual salary, we had to pay PERS on top of that. So it cost me more to give you a 1% raise in your salary than it did for me just to give you a 1% PERS pickup. So over the years, in lieu of raises, townships, counties, cities, they paid employees PERS pickup so you didn't have to give them a raise. So that was their contract negotiations over those periods of time. Well, in 2012, prior to me becoming a county commissioner, they decided to flip all those and put it into their salary so that everybody could be compared apples to apples. We had so many contracts. There's 18 different unions in the county, 18 or 22.
In excess of 20, yes.
Yes, 22. 22 unions and contracts to be negotiated with. We're trying to get some semblance of continuity, like, levels of job classifications across the board to bring some parallels to salaries. And to do that, we wanted to get everybody on a level playing field. So we said, well, let's flip the PERS into their salary. Well, the county was paying about 11%, or about 10, was paying 10% of their PERS. So in order to put that in their salary, they had to give them an 11% increase so that their out-of-pocket was identical. So they got a little bit under 1% raise by that PERS flip. But if you compared the salary from 12 to 13, the PERS flip shows as an 11% raise, or 11% increase. But that was the PERS flip. So when we did that, that's where the majority of these numbers came. The 336 non-general fund employees, 155 of them was the PERS flip. 207 of them were general funds for the Sheriff's Department. The Sheriff's Department has been on concessions since 2009. Their concessions came off because of an arbitrator going to conciliation last year. We were mandated to pay the Sheriff's Department their concessions. Now, and quite honestly, I'm glad that we did, because you've got starting deputy sheriffs, they work here in your community, that makes $12.50 an hour. There's not many of us that would patrol with a gun and protect the lives of the community for $12.50 an hour. So they came off of concessions, so they never got a raise. They went back to 2008 wages, of which from 2009 through 2013 they were on concessions. The arbitrator made us go back to pay them 2008 wages. So they went back to 2008 wages, so 207 of this 760 are the sheriffs coming off the concessions. But how does the paper put it? Raises. The general fund did 114 PERS flips, no raises. The courts had 66 increases, of which, when they hire people in the courts, our focus has always been to make sure that your total budget stays underneath where the allocation for salaries is. They come in, they combine jobs, they eliminate jobs, just like Jim and Lou Vega did on the green team. They did a phenomenal job on the green team. They were able to combine 3 positions into 2. They eliminated another position. They saved about $120,000 in the green team salary, and they absorbed a lot of the workload onto 2 people. And in doing so, the elimination of those 3 positions, the rest of the staff got a 5% increase. So it was a good trade-off in our mind, to save $120,000 in wages for the green team and to give employees a 5% increase in doing so. So they're added into the general fund. Now, the veteran services, we have no control over veteran services. They're generated by a board. There's a board that the probate court, or not probate, but the common pleas courts pick the individuals that sit on the Veteran Services Board, the Veteran Services Board, quite honestly, does what they think is the right thing to do. You know, they try to make sure they're commensurate with other counties, and they do things that, you know, if I was on that board, I wouldn't do. But I don't pick the members on the board. I don't vote for those issues. And quite honestly, you know, it's something that they've done a lot for our country, for our community. You know, and I won't make any, you know, references on how they do their job and what they do, because I can't say that it's excessive or that it's justified. So, but we have no control of that. But what money they don't use comes back to the general fund. But they're supposed to use the money that's collected for veteran services for veterans and to help veterans programs. When you drill it all the way down to the general fund, 14 people got raises that were in the general fund out of the total number of 760 that they want to sensationalize, you know, on the front page of the paper. Then they show just the sales tax monies from 2008 to today, and show that it's gone from $28 million to $31 million. So it's gone up $3 million, but that's not the general fund. You know, the general fund is $52 million that has all of the other deficits that we see annually going down and down and down. So it's pretty unfair to, you know, to write an article, and that was their intent. You know, I think the Vindicator's focus is that they hate government employees, and, you know, they like to make sure that they expose what they think is something that really is sensationalized and not factual. You know, but a lot of people look at the headlines, and that's how they equate it to it, and their reaction is, well, we'll vote no on the tax. But, you know, I mean, I'd like to vote no on my federal taxes and my state taxes. You know, I'd like to vote no on all of them. But, you know, quite honestly, just like your township, the small amount, when you get your tax duplicate, you know, twice a year, and you look at it, and you see the amount that goes back to your community, to your township, for the services that are provided, for your police, your fire, your roads, your safety forces, your ambulance, you know, everything that comes into your community, we get a good bang for our buck. You know, whether it's our township government or our county government, our local government does a phenomenal job on behalf of the residents of Mahoney County, in my estimation. Let me ask, Jim, anything that, I mean, I know I...
Just a couple other things. Yeah, just regarding the raises, what the Vindicator also fails to report is the deputies went back to 2008 rate with their concessions. But prior to that, they had nothing since 2005, I believe. 2004, 2005. They hadn't had anything. So actually, you're taking them back almost to that. Also, the commissioners, the employees that the commissioners directly oversee, set all their pay rates and everything, they have not had a raise since 2008. With the flip, it's the same money they're taking home in their pocket. All it is it helps you in the market if you're buying a house or a car to actually show what you're actually making. Because for many years the public said that we are trying to hide something. But one thing with this Board of Commissioners, they're very transparent in what they do. So we're showing you, this is the actual cost of an employee. There's no hidden agenda, but there was no additional money to come home. But as I say, the Commissioner's office hadn't had anything since 2008 when they mentioned the Green Team, which we're a non-general fund office. All right, we get our from fees at the landfill, and they compared 3% to the cost of living is 1.47, 1.77, but they failed to realize that since January 4th of 2007, we hadn't had any raises in our office, despite the fact that we distribute to many other agencies. We give out, and we were giving out in excess of $2 million to communities and otherwise. That's that issue. On the sales tax map, some of the questions we've got out there, Well, there are 5 counties that are less than us. And that's a good question as far as the sales tax. But if you look at them, these are counties that either have other types of industry, or when you look at the Summit and Stark, great retail.
Exactly. Jim is right when he says that, because their 0.5% sales tax collects double what ours does. So they could have less than 1%, and still the monies they collect is almost twice of what ours is, because of their retail industry in their community.
Right. The brochure, I mean, there's a ton of information in here, and we're not going to put anything out unless it's the truth and it's verified. And quite a bit of work went into this to make sure that it is accurate, and we're open to questions on everything. But once again, as the Commissioner stated, that the significant portion of what we spend out of the general fund goes to protect the health and safety and security of the community. I mean, that's about it. Now, there's other questions that are in here, and with this, as he also stated, our revenue is around $50 million. So we're putting a 51.5 will be the revenue, but we still have a $53 million budget, and that's when he mentioned the $1.5 million that we're going to try to finagle and get through this year with, but then projections for out in the future. That's the reality of it. And as you all know, with the state cuts and the state cuts and the state cuts, and once again, our commissioners are allowing you to vote on this. Many of these other counties where they have this, if you see the red, if you see the black, they just impose the tax. So, I mean, I think we caught it all, unless there are any questions.
And knowing that Deputy Sheriff Boggs is here, I think that we should pass the hat, because he deserves a lot more money than he's making right now to protect our community. And if I could give him a raise personally, I would give him a raise of more than 10%. I would. So.
And through the chair, may I ask that if 5 minutes, maybe 8 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it takes, anybody wants to make a comment. It takes a lot of courage when a commissioner comes out and then he's laying it out there for everybody to see and being part of our discussion here tonight. Does anybody want to make a comment before any of us do so?
Yeah. I'm Lee Sandstrom. I just was wondering, with what you said about the flip, how much was taken away from the PERS percent when you flipped it back to the employees?
All of it, 100%. We don't pay any. The employer now, on the ones that were flipped, the employer was paying 10% of their pension. Now we pay none of their pension, of their portion of their pension. So we took it, it was equal, it was 1 for 1. We gave them an 11% raise, and we quit paying 10% of their PERS. So it equated on the bottom line to a little bit under a 1% of a raise, but that was necessary in order to equal their out-of-pocket money so that they didn't lose anything in their pocket from their paycheck.
The additional taxes that are incurred.
Okay, what does the county put into PERS then? What percent do you put in for the employees? They used to put 10 in. What were you putting in?
I don't know that exact number.
The full PRS is approximately 24%.
So you were putting 14, you're still doing 14.
13.95.
Okay.
Okay, now, the way this all started, by the way, a little bit of a, Commissioner Trafficani calls me the historian as well. The PRS...
That just means we're old, Jim.
Right. Right. Shoot, I grew up with Deputy Boggs, so you have to tell me about old. But the PRS pickup started in 1991 with the original 0.5% tax. They needed a tax, and what they did then is in the contracts they negotiated starting back then, they started doing the pickup in lieu of any raises, because it was cheaper then. So this is something that's been going on for 24, 25 years, and now the commissioners, in line with people saying, oh, get more in line with the public sector, let's be more transparent, let's show your real wages, they're coming into that. So now they are what they're required by law, just like your regular employer is required to provide so much FICA, and then you pick up your other Social Security. The county is still required by law to provide 13.95%, and then law enforcement is more. And then the employees are required to pick up the 10, and so now the employees are paying their full PERS pickup.
And they even pay it, though. They
Oh,
can
yeah.
they can keep that money, can't they?
No, they have to pay it. They have to pay it.
No, it's taken right out of the check.
Yeah, it's just,
Even though it went into their salary,
yes.
it's now taken right back out?
Right, it's taken right back out. That's why it only equated to 1%.
Yeah, there's no increase in take-home pay.
Yeah, no
Actually,
increase in raise at all.
Actually, for the year, I'm taking home $8 more. Okay, with your 11%.
Yeah, right.
I'm taking home $8 more because you do by a straight percentage.
Yeah, I was
So
curious
sorry.
what they were able to do with that, but you're saying you add it to their wages,
And then we take it back out in
So you
the
can take it
pension.
out for the pay,
Yeah,
for them to pay it,
right.
for us to pay it.
All 10%.
Right.
But we had to give them 11%, so like Jim said,
it's an
if
automatic...
we only did a 10% for 10%, the average person would lose about $50 a month in salary. So we made it 11% to match it.
Because you
so
pay
that they
additional
didn't have
income
any
tax on it as well.
Yes.
Yes, will any of this money go to fix those horrendous roads in Youngstown?
No.
I was just going to ask that. Ah,
No, all the roads go through the county engineer. Or
give him some money, will
The
you?
license-
You don't hear part of that
The
word out of that.
the only thing that the county engineer runs off of is license plate fee and the gasoline tax. And the problem there is that with all the hybrid cars and the better gas mileage, less gas is being purchased, they're getting less money, their budget's steadily declining, not increasing. So it's more difficult for the county engineers to keep up. So the other thing that happens is twofold. The bad thing about being broke and having to just make costs, or now you no longer have matching funds, you no longer have matching funds for grants, grant opportunities, and all the things that come along with the needs of a county and a community. So, we can't put up 20% matching funds for a $16 million road project on Meridian Road that we already have the engineering study done on it, because we don't have $3 million to put into the pot in order to get the $13 million that we could get from the state and federal government.
Well, they're so bad, you could justify taking the money out of the safety section of it, because those roads are really bad.
The health and safety, when we talk about it, is the sheriff's deputies, the courts, the prosecutor's office. Yeah, and those are...
Critical.
And the other thing, let me tell you about the sheriff's department. They were at 25 employees. They're at 222 today. So when you talk about doing a phenomenal job, that department, the sheriff's deputies, the Sheriff Green and his people, they have done an excellent job. They're finding different opportunities to try and preserve positions, to try and bring money into the county, and it's been a breath of fresh air, on how they've done such a great job, and they have for a long time in my eyes. And right now, you can't balance the budget on the backs of the deputy sheriffs, because the problem is if you lose $15 million out of your budget, and $39 million is already going for public safety, where's our biggest expenditure? $20 million of this general fund, or of our general fund, goes to the sheriff's department. So you don't have an opportunity. You don't have an opportunity to save money. If we lose $15 million, what are you going to do? It's going to balance on the back of the sheriff's department. They're the ones doing the best job. So it'd be totally unfair to have that happen, with respect to the sales tax, and because of things like this that are, in my eyes, the National Enquirer of Mahoning County. Yes.
You're smart coming out and explaining that article, because it certainly is a slanted article.
Sure.
Kind of indicating that all government employees are greedy. And I know from past experience that they are not. And it's obvious that you need that 0.5%. But, like I said, it's a good thing you're rebutting that article. The but is a lot of your citizens like to have you come to us every 5 years and show how you're spending the public's money. And I think you're taking a little bit of a chance of making a gamble here to make it continuous.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it would have been a lot safer just to make it a renewal. Because a lot of people don't like the continuous. They like for you to sweat before us every 5 years.
That's a good point.
Hey, Dave,
Yes.
one question I just thought of. Are you putting out any signs about we support it or anything? I haven't seen any. I didn't know whether anybody was
No,
putting any signs out.
no, we really haven't. We've been doing kind of a grassroots, going around, hitting every community, and I've been to four Rotaries, and it's been just trying to get.
Township Association.
We like the Township Association, and I know we've got Austin Town gave us a letter of support for it, but we'd like the Township Association to possibly give us a letter of support that we can publicize. And we had an editorial with the Vindicator last week for 3 hours. They questioned us on it and everything, and really I think they support it as well. They understand, but it didn't change this because it sells papers. Anybody else?
Fred, Mr. Chair, can I speak?
Sure.
Yes. Okay. I mean, Dave told you how he feels about tax. We wish we could pay him, but it's certainly, when we think about sales tax, it's the fairest tax there is. Everybody's paying it. It doesn't, and what they're buying, other than the ones that are not taxable, those kind of things. But when it comes down to us, I think when the Vindicator is saying that to people, it's kind of us to educate people too. We go from here. So it's only us 20 people here in this room, but we go educate people too about the facts of this. And what it comes down to me personally is willing to pay for the services that we get. I will speak for Ellsworth Township because I'm a single person here, but the two trustees certainly have their own thoughts. And the services we get, I know that as being here 12 years, the Sheriff's Department, we've had an agreement with the Sheriff's Department. Certainly to have a post here that services the western part of the county. Dave has been aware of that even when he was a trustee in Austintown. Certainly to know that. We benefit by that. We've crafted an agreement where we give something, but we're getting much more in return. He talked about Sheriff Green getting a grant, got creative. You mentioned that, Dave. We've got a resource officer to school. They're digging. We were part of it, right, guys? And Berlin was part of that, and we've got a resource officer. We have to keep thinking outside the box. But here's the state. Name one thing you can think of what the state has given us back for that 1%.
5 3/4, the state.
Yeah, but that additional
they take 5 3/4 off of us.
That additional 1% since that happened, can we name one thing? Everything that we've talked about here tonight is our services in our little corner of the world here.
Great point. And Artie, you make a great point too, is when you talk about fair, it's also calculated that about 35% of the sales tax is generated by non-county residents. People from Pennsylvania, neighboring counties coming over to spend their money within our county. So we're paying 65 cents and getting a dollar's worth of services back. So it's also, creates even more of a fair opportunity for us.
I do have one question. Where does the bed tax go for the hotels and motels?
The bed tax goes to fund the airport, the Port Authority. It keeps the airport operating. It goes. The bed tax generated $1.1 million last year for the Port Authority and $300,000 for the Convention and Visitors Bureau. So it funds those two entities. That's our portion to the Youngstown-Warren Regional Airport, to keep the airport operating and to keep the Port Authority running. That the Port Authority now is going to handle the construction of the new dog pound that we're going to have in Mahoning County. We were able to buy the property over on North Meridian Road, the old jump stretch facility. 10 acres came with it. It's a phenomenal opportunity for us. And the Port Authority is going to do the whole project and lease the building back to us. and they're going to handle all the fees out of our money that we pay to operate the Port Authority. So it's a good opportunity for us. Yeah.
Don't townships that have motels get the bed tax, and they can use it the way they want?
Yeah, they get a proportion of it, yeah.
Oh,
I think, I think there's a percentage, because I know that in Austintown Township, with the 5 or 6 hotels we had at the interstate, I want to say that annually we got in the neighborhood of about $40,000. And it came back to the township for our portion of the bed tax. But I want to say 5% of it goes to the county. Is it 5? It was raised from 3.5 to 5 about 4 years ago or 3 years ago, and so that all goes to the 2 entities, the Port Authority and Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Anybody else? Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dave?
I really thank you. Thank you for the job that you guys do and giving us
We
the
thank you,
opportunity to
too.
come out. And
We appreciate your job.
Thank you. Hate to run, but we're going to head to Struthers and try and catch their meeting as well. So.
Very good.
Hey, grab a cookie and water on the way out.
You know what? I got my water, but Artie, I'm trying to lose weight like you. No cookies.
I wagged it to you, so like he...
Yeah, okay. I'm going to stay away from his wife because she'll pull me around the neighborhood.
I think you lost 40-something. Dave, how much have you lost? 40-something?
You know what? I'll give you the numbers. I was at 225. Being 4 foot tall, that's a lot of weight. And I was on that Advocare diet, and I went down to 185. This morning I was at 192, so I put on about 7, but I'm down a little over 30 pounds. So.
And you didn't have to tell us that Deputy Bob and Jim went to the same, grew up in the same neighborhood. They go to the same barber.
You know what? They go to the same barber, too.
Okay, we have one more guest with us, and she is Judge Carol Robb. She's practiced law for 18 years, and before being appointed magistrate of the Common Pleas Court in 2001. In 2005, she was elected judge of Columbiana County Municipal Court, a position she now continues to serve. And she's running for the 7th District Court of Appeals, and she'd just like to talk to us a little bit. So, go ahead.
Well, thank you very much. Each of you, Artie, Bob, Fred, thank you very much. Karen, it's very nice to meet you tonight. And, it's always dangerous to give an attorney a crowd, an audience, and a mic, and unlimited time. So I promise to keep this very short. Thank you again for the invitation to be here. As Fred just indicated, my name is Judge Carol Robb. I currently serve the Columbiana County Municipal Court. I practiced law for 18 years, part of that being here in Youngstown, before I left and went down to Columbiana County to practice out of my home community because I had 2 little ones at home. I practiced law for 18 years, and in 2001 I was appointed as magistrate of the Common Pleas Court. In 2005, I was elected as the municipal court judge in Columbiana County, a position that I currently hold. I want to ask you folks something. How many of you follow the legal news? I'm sure you do. How many of you do? Yeah, you follow the legal news, you follow the sheriff's report, you see the same names over and over and over again. Notice this? Don't you ever wonder why? Well, I wasn't in this position very long when I asked that same question. So I formed 2 steering committee meetings. The first steering committee was with the mental health and substance abuse community, the county prosecutor's office and the public defender's office, as well as the mental health and substance abuse board. And we formed the steering committee and we did a study, and we formed what we now call the mental health docket of Columbiana County, which is called STAR. And STAR became the first mental health court in the state of Ohio to be certified by the Ohio Supreme Court. It's being used for all mental health courts throughout the state of Ohio. And the reason being, see those names that keep repeating? When somebody graduates from STAR, there's only an 18% chance that they're going to come back and see us. Let me give you one success story. There was a lady in our court, when I first thought about forming the mental health court, I said to my probation officer, think of 5 names defendants that you know on a first name basis. I mean, you almost want to invite them to the evening meal. That's how familiar they are to you, right? He named 5 of them. He did a criminal background check on these 5 individuals. Guess how many times one individual had been charged in a 5-year period? Anybody want to make a wild guess?
20.
You're low. 25. 25 times. Now you can appreciate how much time is burned up going out to the same place 25 times in a 5-year period. So this was one of the first individuals that we accepted into the STAR program. This individual was in the STAR program for a year and a half. This individual had substance abuse issues. We got them sober, free of substance abuse. We got them properly diagnosed, properly medicated. They're doing great. They were graduated in 2008. I haven't seen them back on the criminal docket since 2008. This individual comes into our court now. I've seen this individual twice. You want to know why? Because this individual now owns a duplex. They live on one half and they rent the other half, and they've had to evict their tenants 2 times. That's what we want to see. That's exactly what we want to see. And this program has been so successful, it's used as a template throughout the state of Ohio. I have 12 mental health dockets in the state of Ohio that we're mentoring to help them come on board and do the things that we're doing in our community. The second steering committee that we formed didn't take me long to realize that a lot of defendants that I see, they either can't get jobs or they do get a job and they can't keep a job. And I was wondering why. Have any of you heard of Bridges Out of Poverty? Any of you heard of that program? Well, it's an amazing program that begins to identify the differences in economic class and the different rules of economic class. And so what we did is we formed another steering committee. We brought the Department of Job and Family Services, One Stop, Community Action Agency, Kent State University, and Youngstown State University together. And we formed what we call Defendants Getting Ahead. And we have put 50 defendants through the Defendants Getting Ahead program. And what we're finding is when people work, they're less likely to commit crimes. We only have about 18% of our graduates that come back through the system. And this program has been so successful that the Supreme Court trained 14 other judges and counties in the state to do exactly what we're doing here in the Mahoning Valley. 14 others. And every quarter, I do a telephone conference with other judges and judicial colleges throughout the United States so that they can learn what we're doing here in the Mahoning Valley to put people back to work and keep them out of the court system. So, I've presided over a lot of contested motion hearings, both civil and criminal. I've presided over a lot of court trials, both civil and criminal. And I've presided over a lot of jury trials, both criminal and civil. I want to keep it short tonight. I know you guys have a long evening ahead of you. I appreciate so much for the forum here. I'm here to introduce myself, to earn your respect so that I can gain your support. I thank you very much, and if anybody has any questions, I'd be more than happy to entertain them.
Great presentation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
I'd like to just give you a little bit of information. This is just a brief biography and a little bit of detail. Certainly, be happy to. I'll be happy to. There you go. Thank you. Again, thank you so much. Have a great evening, and I appreciate your attention here.
Thank you again for coming. We do appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay. Now we'll move back into our business meeting. And we're up to the minutes.
Two sets. The regular meeting
And
and
the
then the
special.
special meeting.
All right. The motion to accept the minutes,
I'll make the motion to accept the minutes.
both of them?
Yes, both at the same time.
I can only vote on one of those, Chairman. I wasn't at the one meeting. So.
Okay,
So we'll do it separate.
Do it separate.
okay. So are you
You
doing
do the regular meeting?
Okay.
You made the motion?
I made the motion to accept.
I'll second it. Artie?
For the regular meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
Trustee Tolan?
Yes.
Trustee Houston? Yes. Now, motion for the special meeting minutes.
Abstain?
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes for the special meeting.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Trustee Toman?
I approve. Yes.
Trustee Houston? Yes. Minutes are approved.
Thank you. 1 moment. Me?
Yep,
Could you
fiscal
guys sign
report.
these while I'm
Yep, I can do that.
do that, please? Tonight's bank balance is $918,905.56. We have received our Marathon Speedway credit cards. Okay, Matt, this one is for you. Chief, these are EMS and fire. Also, here's your checks. Okay. There is a paper in there that gives you a PIN number per your card number. So I just made both of you a copy so that you could work with that, okay? All right, now, thank you. I forwarded an email from Bear Graphics to the 3 trustees, and we have to keep our record of our bonds for our elected officials in a bound book. Now, the company that made our book in Columbus is no longer in business. I have tried to find books locally, can't find them. This is the legal size paper, and it's printed on the front and the back. The one we have currently has an index, and I think it's 54 pages that you can record the bonds on. The only company that I could find was Bear Graphics to give us a quote, and I was blown away by $525. The reason for that is they don't stock this book. They're going to make this book specifically for us. So I'm open to suggestions.
Yeah, and we may be talking alternatives to that book, and we're trying to follow what we're mandated to do, right?
Right. So
Well, let me ask you this, what other choice do you have?
at this moment,
Yeah.
0, nothing.
But have you asked anybody else in other
I've
townships
asked.
what they do?
Well, they were kind of shocked that Dayton Legal Blanks went out of business 2 years ago. And I happened to get a card from Bear Graphics, and that's how I contacted them, because we didn't have a book for the minutes or papers. They're sheets. And I got them from Bear Graphics. So I talked to the company down in Salem, Piper Printing. They don't do this. They can recreate the pages, but they aren't going to be in a permanent book.
Your book is getting full right now.
I have no room. You two are not
How about the
recording.
Township Association? Would they have any suggestions?
I have not called them. You want me to call OTA?
Well, you
Because
would think they would know.
no, give it a shot. It's worth the chance, right?
Sure. What's our deadline for having to do this?
Past due, we needed you two, right?
Pardon?
These two need to be recorded in.
That's it. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I will call OTA and see if I can get something resolved with that. Okay.
Well,
now-
let me ask you this, even if we was to give that to them, how long did it tell you to take? I don't remember what it said, if it did.
2 weeks.
2 weeks? Okay.
And the bid's good till the 25th of this month. And I'm sure that if we wanted this and it's past the 25th, he would either reissue or honor. Okay? Now, we have 3 issues we need to address on the appropriations. I made a typographical error. I put an amount down for the gasoline tax that was $2,000 wrong. I have talked to the county auditor. We have to make an amended certificate, which I have typed out, and we will need a motion to do that. And then once the motion is passed, then you can sign the certificate, the application for the amendment, or the request for one. And I can get that down to Anthony. Also, I have, on the March 24th meeting, in the EMS account, the wages were $3,300. Then, now the finals, they're $8,800. So, that's a difference of $5,500. I received an email from the fire chief on March 26th in which a salary of $425 a month was suggested for the EMS director. That would total to $5,100 for the year. Is that $5,500 additional in wages to cover that EMS salary?
We never okayed a salary change.
I know we didn't.
I told Bobby and I told Brian that if they wanted to change anything, they could change it as long as it didn't change the bottom line.
Well,
Brian requested that change, so I put it in.
okay, so here is the only
But
thing.
that doesn't mean he's going to get this increase. That doesn't mean he's going to get anything.
Okay, because I was a little confused, because I was not part of that email conversation. I only got the initial email, okay? So here's the thing. If you give him that $425 a month, we have to amend the certificate because, and he's not here tonight to ask, but the computer's going to ask me, what retirement is he taking? Is he taking Social Security or is he taking OPERS? Because when I set him up in that screen, it asked me that question. So if he is taking Social Security, that comes to $73.95 for the year, our proportion, which is manageable in the amount you have in Social Security. If it is OPERS, it's $714, which you will then have to amend your certificate and take that amount out of one of the other accounts, send an amended certificate in, because we're going to have to create an account number for OPERS. You following me?
Yeah, I'm following you. I just don't understand why you had to bring it up tonight. Why we couldn't have talked about this amongst ourselves before this. You didn't want to have anything to do with the appropriations. Now all of a sudden you're telling me we didn't do things right.
No. That's not the point. The point is, when I went to put this in, no one had said anything to me. I had the email. I was trying to figure out what was going on.
No,
That's
I
all.
sent you an email that said that those two requested changes.
Right.
And we agreed that if they wanted to change something up at the front,
Right.
as long as they didn't change that bottom number.
And
Did
it
we
didn't.
not?
Yes.
So when they changed it, I changed it.
Okay. All right. So that's going to stay status quo as it is.
That's what they want.
Okay. Now, this is just housekeeping. In the zoning account, some of the numbers got switched when it was printed out. So, if I pay, these are the correct account numbers that are supposed to be in what we sent to the county, okay?
Okay.
Medicare is actually the other expenses.
So we just need to change that
Yeah.
in our
So,
appropriation numbers.
well, Anthony said, if we just acknowledge this and send it to him, we have to change it in what we're working with. But if we send this to him, he'll make the changes down there.
All right.
Okay? So, that's all I have.
There's still a board action, though, is we're making an amended certificate for that one thing we do have to, a physical act here to do.
Yes.
And the other one, we'll accept what Fred has in front of him. Anthony will accept that. That'll be the other change, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
and
one of
all
them is an
this
amended
is
certificate. This is the amended certificate for the,
$2,000.
yes.
Artie, to answer your question, the account numbers, that's just the housekeeping.
Right.
It does not require a
And
motion.
he can.
And
he'll
Anthony
accept
will
that.
take care of it.
Okay.
Okay. And I just wanted clarification, because if you're looking at an account number on the check, and I pay Medicare, on your copies of the appropriations, it's going to look like I paid them out of other. instead of Medicare. So I was just trying to, now, we need a motion for the amended certificate.
Now I'll make a motion that we make for this amended certificate on the, which fund is it? The
Gas tax fund.
The gas tax.
2021.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll second the motion.
Trustee Spellman?
Yeah.
Trustee Tony?
Yes.
Trustee Houston, yes.
Thank you.
Now motion on the other one?
Don't even need
You don't
it.
need a motion on that one?
No, on the, no, just sign it that you acknowledge that there was.
Okay.
Thank you. And if I can have both when they're signed.
Yep.
And that's it for me.
Chair, I know we want this meeting to go, but I don't want to lose, we're going to discuss, we just handed 7 credit cards out, maintenance got in that.
We will get to it.
Okay.
It's on there. We will get to it, Artie.
Okay. I was wondering if we were going to discuss that now or later. That's all my question
We will
was.
discuss it later.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to make copies and then I'll send them again.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else?
No, I'm done.
Okay. Maintenance report.
All right, we had 1 burial last month. The sheriff's office, the ceiling tile has been replaced, it's painted, and next week we're going to get those windows put in for that. I have a quote here for the crack sealer for roads. That's a shared purchase with Berlin Township, so they'll have to they waive the delivery fee. I do have a quote in the package for that.
How does that compare with last year?
It's a penny less per pound.
Okay.
Can't
Going in
beat
the
that.
right direction.
We're going like that. I've also in your packets, I have some carpet quotes for the fire hall and the sheriff's office. There's a couple different options with each company, which are 3 companies. And I gave Fred the one copy of the gentleman that came in today at 2:30. So I think we need to digest it for a month and decide which way the best way to go. And we have a number of different options.
Email them to you. Okay. All right.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Since we don't have a copy here.
That'll help us digest what Fred's going to give us.
Right, and then you'll have all 3 vendors
Okay.
with their options, and then we can
Maybe by next month we can
make a decision.
make a decision.
Yeah, once we look at everything. We have some unused equipment, that recycle trailers down at the cemetery, and also there's a old John Deere tractor that isn't being used. It's standing in the corner there. I contacted Edinburgh Auction Service. I know Berlin Township has used them for selling some equipment. They do take care of the advertising, which is required by the Ohio Revised Code. For us to dispose of that equipment, Ohio Revised Code says anything under $2,500, as long as we have a unanimous vote from the 3 trustees, you can go ahead and sell those items. So you'd have to vote on that if you wanted to
Somebody want to make a
dispose
motion?
that.
We're pretty sure what it is. You don't have a list or anything, right?
That's right.
It's only the 2 items.
Yeah.
We recycle trailer.
One,
Recycle trailer?
2,
Yeah, okay.
2 things.
2 things.
Sure. Okay, I'll make a motion to...
And we're giving time for our local people to look at it and say, they...
Well, my suggestion on that would be, let's put it in a roundup. The next auction that we'd be able to make would be May 17th. So maybe the 1st of May, I can bring those things up to the maintenance, bring the trailer up and the mower up and leave it sit. And you put in a roundup that people can come and look at it. If they're interested in it, they can go to the auction and bid on it.
Is that a Saturday sale?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
They also do that online too, so you can do online bids for that stuff, which makes it a motion.
There we go.
Second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Trustee Spellman?
Yes.
Trustee Tillman?
Yes.
Trustee Houston, yes. So we'll go ahead, yeah. Do you want to take care of putting something in the roundup? or do we want to just put it in as part of our article?
We should put it in part of our article. We'll put an asterisk by it or something like that, and I'll let you guys proof it when I get it. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
I attended a ODOT drainage seminar. It was very informative. There's another one coming up. It's a one-day class over at Akron. It's asphalt pavement preservation. I did go to an asphalt preservation down in Columbus. It was only an hour long. This is an all-day. So I think it would be beneficial, and the cost is only $40. It's close. It's Akron. So if you'd like me to...
Maybe we come up with our parking lot and some things like that. It might be a really good idea.
Yes.
Sure.
Need a motion
I'll
on
make
that?
the motion to approve Matt going to the seminar.
It takes the cost of $40 plus mileage.
$40 plus mileage, right, the usual.
I'll second it. Trustee Spellman?
Yes.
Trustee Tillman?
Yes.
Trustee Houston, yes.
All
Very
right.
good.
Next item on Grace Services, exterminating service. I've had a lot of flies in here in this building and also up at the fire hall. I think maybe it's something to look at, maybe on a preventive maintenance. They did provide us a quote where they will attend to the properties 4 times a year, and they'll take care of rodents, insects, and they will also come back for hornets and bees at no charge if we need them. They'd include that.
We did have mice in our blowers. And we did have
I found a mouse in a heating unit.
and it wouldn't run right. And it didn't run because.
Oh, it was making a lot of noise. I actually thought the bearing went on the motor, but here was a little mouse. So, I mean, that might be something that we do live in the country. Something to consider.
We have used them on occasions in some of our houses, so I know it does work.
I think the other thing I thought was that they do a weed control in this, maybe in that price, but let's not try to swallow an elephant in one bite here. We'll entertain this contract if we.
Which weeds are you referring to?
Well, around the ball fields, around we have around our buildings and things like that.
Well, those cost seems
They've done it for free for years. I just wondered if it was time to do that yet. Maybe we can handle that. So, if this is in front of us, does anybody want to entertain it, enter into 1 year and see how this goes?
Sure, looks like a very reasonable deal, I think.
Yes.
So, I'll make the motion to hire Grace Services. How much? $895 for a year.
Both buildings.
4 times a year.
And we were discounted $155 off the top. So.
Yeah, that's here, I'll read it to you, Larry. It's exterior power spray 3 times a year, interior crack and crevice each visit, baiting for rodents each visit, covers any emergency bee service at both facilities, and fire station and town hall, $895.
It said if both buildings are chosen to be serviced, a $155 discount will be taken off the total.
Yeah, that's the discounted price is $895.
I'll second that motion.
Trustee Spellman?
Yes.
Trustee Tillman?
Yes.
Trustee Houston, yes.
One of you want to sign the contract and I'll fax it to them? Or you want me to do it?
I can sign it.
Fred Houston, XXX.
Okay, no problem.
I'll sign it.
Yes, Freddie, yeah, I'll sign it. Usually the chair does it.
All right, next item, the generator and the pump. We're going to start digging April 23rd, somewhere around there. The last week of April, we're going to try to get this electrical project done and up and running for the generator. And I give you a copy of an attachment of the Green Tea meeting on April 15th. It's going to be in Canfield. Give you the agenda, just what's going on. So I plan on going to that. It's only an hour and a half long.
Okay. One question, maintenance. Wonder if you or Kevin knew if there was a time that we needed to lead into getting this crack seal. Usually there's peak demand and when availability, and is one pallet going to be enough of what we forecast that we're going to be using this year?
We're ordering the same that we did last year, and matter of fact, I saw the sales rep today, and I told him, after tonight's meeting, if it's approved, I'll give him a call and we'll arrange delivery, because they deliver it to Berlin for storage.
Okay, you remember if there was a delay on getting that if we need it?
No, we
can look at that.
Berlin approved our 3 pallets one day, so your 3 pallets. So Matt will talk to Mike tomorrow, and we'll just get it delivered whenever they can get it.
But you're going to wait until they get our order and deliver all 6 at the same time?
Yeah, because they waived the delivery if we combine the 2 communities.
Right.
So we're looking to approve that purchase now so we can do it when the time is, right?
Right.
Did we approve it? We didn't do that, did we?
No, we didn't do a motion on this.
Okay.
So I'd entertain a motion.
Chair, I'd like to make a motion with Seal Master's approval of the crack seal needed for this year's project. Is it 3 pallets?
Yes.
Okay. Total of $3,264.00.
I'll second the motion.
Trustee Spellman?
Yes.
Trustee Tillman?
Yes.
Trustee Houston? Yes. We done the trailer, so I think we've got everything covered?
Yes.
Agreed? Okay. Zoning report.
I had one zoning permit for a shed at 5720 State Route 45, North Jackson. It was 14 by 20. I had one agricultural exemption approved by Mahoning County for a pole building at 8739 South Duck Creek Road, Berlin Center, Ohio. That had been approved by the county. There was an inquiry made by the Mahoning County Planning Commission on that zone change for the property located at 10875 Akron Canfield Road in Canfield, the zone change application. They've asked for clarification. Their meeting is this month, I believe, on April 22nd. So I will get back to them this week. They want a clarification as to what the property owner wants. It either has to be all R1 or all B2, not both. And also they wanted to know if the entire lots are going to be changed. So I've sent a letter to the property owner. I haven't had a response yet, but I will follow up with the Planning Commission, and I'll try to reach the property owner. I met with property owners that own property on 10542 Berlin Station Road, Berlin Center, Ohio. It's property that I spoke about last meeting about the landlocked property. The one daughter is still interested in applying for a variance. We took a look at the property on the computer with the GIS map, and she needs a survey, and she needs, or as a route to that back landlocked property before we could take an application. I mean, definitely need a survey before I can even present it to the Board of Zoning Appeals. So I sent them on their way. I believe they're going to follow through with it, and I'll meet back with them as soon as they can provide me with more information. I had one inquiry about older mobile homes, especially one mobile home, but I didn't get an address, what the restrictions on that would be as far as repairs, replacement. There's restrictions on replacement, definitely. They can repair it if it's already there. And I also provided them with a letter from Nip Kane, which provided the trustees an outline
which they had approved at their meeting in '91, which would have to go through the Board of Zoning Appeals for any manufactured home to be replaced with that mobile home. So I answered that question. I had other zoning calls, mainly property owners, about vacant properties, about the zoning, how it was set up on that property that they were interested in purchasing, and as far as what their restrictions, zoning restrictions would be as far as if they built new structures. So I answered about 8 calls for that month. I also answered one call about just general maintenance, windows, doors, no structural changes, whether a permit was required. And I'm working on saving the documents to the computer, so there'll be separate files. Camera-wise, I do have some in mind, but I haven't purchased one yet. That's it.
Thank you.
A lot of work, Wayne.
Yes. Sounds like you were a very busy person. Good.
Better than the last time. Well, and also, I don't know if we ever gave you thanks for cleaning up the office.
So were these trustees.
Yeah, and making great improvements. It's very noticeable. Everybody should stop up and take a look. Good job. And he's got a plant in the office now, too. Good work.
Thank you.
I'll second that. Fire department.
Since our last meeting, we had 2 motor vehicle crashes, 10 medical calls, 1 structure fire, 1 grass fire, and 1 good intent call. There you go. Fire department's just requesting a shared cost of our training budget. With this to be shared with Canfield Township and Green Township for training. The MCCTC, it's for the whole department. It's $100 per fire department. So requesting that $100 out of training. So, and then that's all I have.
Am I making
It'd be to
MCCTC?
That's Rob John. That's the one we talked about. That was I was asking for that tonight. We had the class. That was to Rob John. That was all taken care of. Yes. So our share was $100, and it was shared with Canfield and Greenford. So.
Well, I'd like to make a motion then for the $100 for our training, which I never say no to, for our department at the MCCTA.
It was a very good class, very informative. How fires have changed, how fire behavior's changed since you and I first started, and Earl, so it's changed quite a bit, so, and not for the good, so.
Second.
Good. I'll second the motion.
Trustee Spellman?
Yes.
Trustee Tillman?
Yes.
Trustee Houston, yes.
And last thing, Bobby, prepare for the parade.
Yes.
Just so
Yes.
you go through via the Fred truck.
Right. Yeah. And then for the EMS, Brian's working tonight. He wanted to, out of the EMS budget, we had no transports for last month. But he wanted to see if we'd get $197 to Lowellville Fire Department for EMT class for Shannon Blosser. The class is, I believe it's like $800. They got a grant, and basically it's just the cost of the books. So she was part of that. They allowed her to be part of that grant. So they cut the cost of the class, and they're just charging her for the books. So he'd like to take that $197 and pay Lowellville Fire Department for that portion of their books for the class.
That's a bargain.
It is a bargain. So
I'll make a motion that we approve $197 for training. It's the check to be made out to Lowellville Fire Department.
Lowellville Fire Department, yes, sir.
Okay. I'll second the motion.
Trustee Spellman?
Yes.
Trustee Tony?
Yes.
Trustee Houston, yes.
They still saving up for new ambulance down there? They have a 1966?
Oh, Lowville?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been down there in a while, so it's been a while, so they...
It was old when Fred was there.
Yeah.
Do you have an invoice or anything?
For Lowville Fire Department?
Yeah.
Brian May, I don't have one with me, no.
Okay.
But I do have the invoice for, I'll give it to you for the Rob John class.
They've obtained that grant, and this is under that umbrella.
This is under their umbrella, correct, so.
Okay. Committee report. You got anything already?
Wait,
Go ahead.
what's that? Did you tell us how many calls you had?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay. I heard the EMS. I didn't hear. I'm sorry.
Oh, I have one. Let me just, you said there were 10 medicals?
No, there's not.
Yeah, 10 medicals.
Is that also under EMS? 10 medicals but no transport?
Correct, for last month.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, moving on. Artie, got anything on committee reports?
Oh, yeah, and I don't want to, there's a lot here, guys, so I know we shared a lot of these, but being first, I don't want to step on anybody's toes. There's a meeting, and certainly questions have come from this board to Soil and Water, Mahoney County Soil and Water. I've been talking to them. Trustee Furman and Berlin have been talking to them. They have a meeting set up April 22nd. Kevin, do you remember the date, April 22nd, Soil and Water?
Monday, next month. I think it's 21st. Which is Monday.
Okay, the 21st. Public is invited. The question Soil and Water is they're talking about runoff. They're talking about ditches. That's a key thing that this board is understanding more. And Phil discussed those rules. It's another thing that the county does. We had sent a letter of interest to the sanitary engineers. They quickly responded with some questions about who would be, what businesses, maps that they will need. So I am working on that, trustees. I have already prepared some of that, and I will be looking for your input on that too. So I got color pictures of the GIS. Thanks for the help here, Wayne. There's a thank you letter to the commissioners and to Jake Williams. They call it data processing, the IT person that helped Wayne with these computer issues that we had. And I'd like us to sign that as we talked about at the last meeting. And we'll forward that to maybe the commissioners and to Mr. Williams there. There's a letter here that we all got, Chair, and I think you brought to my attention that asked me if I got it from the Zoning Commission Chairman. Do you want us to read that letter about that?
Go ahead.
Okay. There's preliminary discussion. It was a brainstorming session. Larry was there. Several people in here. It was about land use plan. As more you learn about it, I think it knocks away the ignorance of not understanding it. So one of the approach was trustees, we can all speak. I think all the trustees want the public to be engaged in it as quick as they can. It says that there was a lot of consensus. The Zoning Commission members, trustees, and the public in attendance. The George Smergan send a postal mailing to inform the public, residents, and businesses about land use plan was a good means to involve and engage the community. Such a mailing would include a meeting notification and future meetings. Wondering if you trustees would approve the expenditure at your next meeting before the commission has a meeting on April 10th here, which is tomorrow. The next zoning workshop, May 1st, Mr. Smergan will be there with and it's a tentative meeting date that they'll review some of this material that will be prepared in the mailing. They certainly want us trustees to approve it before they send it out, but what they're asking, being that the time involved, that we make that resolution for payment maybe of a mailing to the possible 900 residents.
Was there any idea of cost?
Well, what you know more about bulk mailing, but Fred brought up a good point when he got this, is saying that there might be that people in Jackson will get this, people in Canfield will get this. There's a way to sort that out in these bulk mailings of house numbers and things like that. So We'll struggle through that a little bit, but I think we would only be there's 825 residents in this township, so we're probably at 900 if we spilled over and didn't get it correctly, and probably at 40 cents with bulk mailing. That's 49 cents for regular postage, right?
No idea.
49 cents right now. So I'm guessing, but I think $500 might cover it. And Trustee, you want to discuss that any further, or we'll...
No, we had that meeting, and a lot of people that are here tonight was there, and that's what we agreed to, was that we all felt that the best thing to do is to put out a mailing, and I believe at that time we all spoke up and said that we didn't think there'd be a problem, so now we're in a meeting, so now it's time to make it into a motion.
I hear your chair. Yeah.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
And again, we want to engage the public, and it would be the bullet points, some of the commissions here tonight, and before that went out, I hope we reserve that we get to look at that and make sure that that includes and trust those people.
Well, I'll be honest with you, the one thing that he said, that George said, was that sometimes they put something in there so controversial to get everybody involved, and I'm not totally against that.
Well, we'll definitely proof it. So I'll make a resolution to appropriation for the needed payment of postage to do a bulk mailing to our community.
Are you putting an amount?
I don't know if we can say the amount.
If we're going to put an amount, we're going to put it high enough to know that we're,
I'm just asking for minutes.
$550 would probably cover that, and I don't think it'll take that much.
I do have one question, just came to mind. Who's going to print these all up?
Yeah, there's going to be a cost for that.
I'll have George put in his bill and put it to us, that way we don't get complicated about it. You know, maybe he could be responsible, his company, the consultant on this. I'll fire it back and ask them if they could do the printing of it and bill it. Is that a problem with that?
No, I guess. Not to exceed cost.
Yeah, I think we ought to raise that 500 in case we end up paying for the printing.
Okay.
We will if you
Somewhere,
yeah.
Okay.
Give me that invoice.
Okay, then.
I'll get in the email and forward it.
Okay. Then 650, Chair? What's your thought?
I have no idea.
I think you better take it 750. Okay. Let's, I'd rather end up with having $100 too much than end up not being able to pay it without another meeting.
So the motion now is $750 for the mailing and the printing.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, now, Trustee Spell.
Yeah, I'll make that motion
Who's
for...
seconding it?
I'll second the motion.
Yes.
Trustee Tony?
Yes.
And yes. All right.
Okay, also had something was asked to go to work on it. Good Berlin's here again. We pull them into these conversations. But we were looking at an agreement last year in some of our dialogue. Berlin's paying for the porta-johnies, the male and the men's and women's. And we were paying the handicap.
WRBO. Just paying for
Baseball.
it.
Yeah, WRBO. Okay. But we're paying the handicap, one unit. Correct. I got to get a
Our
quote.
thought behind that was it's good to have a unit there for the entire summer, because like last year, the fire department hosted a softball tournament, and it was after our season, and there was no porta-johns there and everybody, so we figured if you guys just covered one, and then we'll cover double. We put 2 more up there for their baseball season, so. And we use Steve.
The same cost as last year?
Yeah, I have it here.
Yeah, 85, I think, a month. Is that what it was?
I have it here.
Handicap, or the 120 for the handicap.
I have a quote from Tom's. Steve's is no longer in the pressures of the drilling has pulled a lot of these out of our area to the areas they use them more. So, on a lend, lease, rent it out. We have one person that responded April through August, and they said we can leave it open-ended and then just charge it for that month. But the total is $95 each unit for each month. For the 4 months, it would be $380.
Now, this is for the handicap.
This is for the handicap, and that's our obligation with WRBO, and I think it's a fair. There are people using them too. They come out and clean them out once a week.
Yeah, and then during tournament, we usually bring them out a couple other times, just to keep on top of things.
They did say we could call if there was an issue of odor.
Okay, somebody want to make a motion?
Yes, sir. I'll make a motion to approve $380 total cost for April through August to Tom's Sewer and Septic for handicap porta john at the ball field.
I'll second it. Trustee Spellman.
Yes.
Trustee Tillman.
Yes.
Trustee Houston, yes. Anything else, Artie?
No, I'm long-winded and I said enough.
Bob, anything?
No, what do we do with the hold on this thing? Or did we miss anything?
No, that one's here. He's going to sign it. You are going to sign this for us tonight, right? The hold harmless? Before you go.
Okay.
Okay?
And,
Go ahead.
no, we're going to talk about the credit card now, or is it coming up?
That's coming up now.
Okay. Four. No, nothing else.
Do you
Bob brought up
have
a-
any report?
No, Bob, you don't have any.
No.
Okay.
Bob also had the light repaired out here. He wanted us to kind of respond maintenance. We're looking for something more permanent in nature, but we had to abate this
Back steps light.
back.
What'd you find out about the pole when we were talking?
It's on,
But was it on when it was daytime? We didn't know if it was on a photo eye or not.
Okay, so it is on a photo line.
must be.
Okay.
Okay.
As far as I'm concerned, when I was out campaigning over on West Hill, some people told me about speed bumps and complained. As of last night, I had got all of West Hill and one part of Elk Road except for one house. And I went back to that house probably 7 times, and after last night I give up. So what it did was the majority of the people said that they really didn't care one way or another. It came out that one more person, by the numbers, one more would like to have them removed, but the trustees have talked a little bit about it and said that that's not a big enough majority, so nothing will be done with the speed bumps. The other thing, I'm sure that anybody that knows Ishrock knows she has been complaining about having a light there at her corner. The trustees investigated it a little bit. We really don't want to spend the money. But what we found was, and I don't know whether there was ever a sign there, but at the end of Bailey Road, there is not one of those yellow signs on the opposite side with the 2 arrows. So there's nothing, when somebody comes flying down there, there is nothing telling them that's the end of the road. So we got a hold of the state, and the state got back to me today, and they are going to they're going to do 2 things. He said, number 1, it's a small stop sign, so they're going to put a larger stop sign and a new one, and then they are also going to put that yellow sign up. So we'll see if that helps. Like we talked to him, the one that went through there was, I think, inebriated, and that's not going to help them. But the other one, I don't know whether it was or not. So that's just something that the trustees have taken under consideration, and we got some results. I believe that's it for me.
Good job on that, Fred. Good thinking.
Any old business? Not aware of any. Okay, new business. The commissioners, that's taken care of. WRBO, we had a discussion about that. The only thing is, Kevin, you need to sign this before you leave. Discussion of update on summer help.
I just wanted to go back to that WRBO, and it's certainly, there's a representative from the WRBO. I always take in that time, whether I've come into one of your meetings or they've come here, we've done that. But I always want to make this discussion so it's apparently clear to everybody that that ball field belonged to the residents of Ellsworth Township. And the way we view WRBO, those children that play in other communities, well, they're like our children too. We want that maximize that use of the facility. But if there was a $100,000 popcorn popper or anything made there, it doesn't make it anybody's. It still remains whose it is. I know WRBO has put a lot of sweat equity in those type of things. But I think we have to think of that. We feel that who it belongs to, we all need to think it belongs to us. So if there's a kid on the roof, tell them to get off the roof. Tell the parent what's wrong with you. If there's kids jumping across the fence, get the kids off the fence. Be prudent in everything they do. We've said that for enough years, and really, guys, it's in great shape, and they've been good guardians of it. Fire department, I know you guys had some fun. We've let kids use it. I still think that I have to say that every year. Sharon thanks me for saying it, so when I'm no longer here, I hope they keep saying that we don't have a lot of rules. We don't have a rule book, because if you make rules, then who's going to police them? Who's going to pass out the rules? Who's going to punish the person who breaks the rules? How are you going to do it? It gets real complicated. So we don't have a big, thick rule book, but again, thank you, and let me thank you for allowing me to make that clear.
Okay, anything else?
No.
Okay, discussion of the update on summer help. We have been investigating, and we've got 2 proposals, one from Callis, one from ManCam. We've kind of decided that that's the way we're more or less going to go. Callis is a little cheaper, don't have as many restrictions. There are a few restrictions, such as whoever we have, if they are going to be driving any equipment, we have to sign a paper that states that we won't hold Callis accountable if they wreck something, damage something. That's kind of a normal thing. And that's about it. Some people will ask why we're doing this. When we go this way, it gets us out of several things. The biggest thing is we don't have to worry about Obamacare. We don't have to worry about any of the rules or anything with that. That comes under Callis. In the past, when they worked as township trustees, they were limited to so many hours per week and one thing another. Under Callis, there won't be no, we can work them. You could work them 40 hours this week and nothing next week, or however, it's an as-needed first. Our plans are to, you can do through Callis, you can do it 2 ways. You can call and say, hey, I need somebody to do something. Oh, excuse me, and they send them out, but that's at a higher rate. What we're looking to do is get some people that we've interviewed and one thing another. Then we will send them to Callis, and they will become a Callis employee, but when they do it that way, unless you want it, there's no medical checks or drug testing or any of that. But that's the way they save some of the money, because they're not doing all of that. So that's kind of our plans. I don't know whether are we prepared tonight to go ahead and make a motion to offer to somebody?
Yeah, I don't think we have a plan until we discuss it just a little bit, but I've read this. I'm looking at some of the things that, that if you, separation and liquidation, some things that I wanted to look at, and how we will keep these Biley invoices. We have a responsibility of keeping hours, right? There's some things that we have to do.
Yes.
So I don't think those are any hurdles that we can't jump. I really don't think so. There are 2 viable options. The big thing that you were saying is that it lowers our liabilities. We have to get our liabilities and our comp things that we're paying under control. We have to get back in good graces. I would certainly think if we decide that we urge and we look at this a little bit more too. If we read the Vindicator, it said officials near a deal to have Jobs and Family Service work for the city. The city's got 10 people with the possibility of 3 more doing mowing, doing cleanup, doing that. These are people that are in the community that are willing to work for their benefits. I don't know if the Sheriff's Department's using anything. We may be talking about options of those that we can talk to Deputy Boggs about later, but this also has no strings attached and it doesn't cost us any money. I just urge the trustees, if we do this, we do something else in addition, that we find somebody displaced in our community that we can put to work too.
And I don't have a problem with that, but I think we need to get somebody in. I think we need to get somebody in position here tonight, so that, because I think it's going to warm up and somebody's going to have a lot of mowing to do, and I don't think Matt wants to do it all by himself. So I personally, I think we need to get somebody on, and then I'm sure we're going to need more than one, but get one in place and get going so that we're prepared to get started. But
So shall we say we're starting the process and look, reviewing past and potentials, or what? Or are we going to pinpoint it down lower than that?
However you want to proceed.
Artie?
I mean, you guys know my feelings, so.
Well, I think we had ManCan come here and talk. Callis hasn't been here, but they really give us a really thick, informative package.
Yes.
It sounds like a simple call, and it sounds like that you can terminate it at any
Oh, yes.
for any reason and things like that. They publicize these rates, or if they're still current, those rates. If they had that flexibility like ManCan, if there was somebody in the community that we wanted them, we would hire them through there if we had somebody specifically in mind.
That's what Callis does too.
Callis does.
Callis has two different rates. One rate is we supply the person to them, and another rate is we just call there and say, hey, send us somebody to do whatever. And if you take somebody from them, then it's I think it's a 1.5 rate. Something like that. I don't remember just exactly. I don't have it in front of me. I guess I should have brought it. And I think, if we send somebody in, it's 1.33. And that's just the difference between, like I said, when we send somebody down there, that's what we do at our business. We've sent 2 down there so far, and they just go down and sign off all the paperwork. Callis doesn't do anything else than we go through ManCan, but ManCan does all the paperwork for them, and then they send them to us. We still call the individual directly. We do not have to go through ManCan. Callis, I'm sure, is the same way. You call them directly.
Who pays for that driving abstract or the drug testing? Do we pay for that?
If we want it.
If we want it.
Yes, then you have to pay for that. Yes.
What is the hourly rate that you're going to pay these people? Do they set it, or do we set the...
We set the rate.
And then you get the 1.3 or 1.5?
Yes, in other words, if we go with Callis...
An hour is $11.50.
If we go to Callis, if we're just say we're paying them $10 an hour, we're going to get billed $13.33 per hour. But we pay no hospitalization, no workers' comp, not responsible for unemployment. They take care of all of that. And it'll be a lot easier on our fiscal officer because she'll get one bill from us. The only thing that we will have to do is we will have to notify them who has authorization to sign their time sheets, because they have to have a time sheet every week. But we can designate somebody. It does not have to be us, as long as we notify them who has the authorization.
Sounds like you got more to do. The only thing I would say, and I think I can make a motion to subscribe, but I still think that we need to explore using free help.
I don't have a problem with that.
People want to help. We've had agreements in front of us, and I know we entertained. I wasn't at the last meeting.
Yeah, we already
signed for it.
Yeah, well, we already passed a.
So they
made a motion and did it.
Okay, they were then I'll be getting a phone call that if the tax ID, if there's somebody in our community that's working now, they would need those things if that was prudent. If we have somebody in mind that's in this program, and I will definitely keep that. That's nobody's business, what an individual, who they are and what's that. But a person under this program, they call them volunteers, they call them applicants. But there's certain things needed from us, very, very few. We don't pay any insurance, we don't pay any liability, we don't pay any work comp, we don't pay anything. The only thing we have to do is provide a tax ID number. Karen helps.
Yeah.
And
So the idea is to use ManCan and
somebody
Callis.
Or Callis, yeah.
And somebody from Job and Family Services.
And 1 or 2 or 3 people from that, whatever it takes. So some blend of both.
Well, one thing on that is some of the people in that program work 89 hours a month, and some of them work 126, depending upon their assistance. So that's what I felt was you'd be better off to get somebody more that you want all the time under a callus, and then use these people more as, like, you got something going on, you know you've got something going on tomorrow that you need some more extra help, then you'll have somebody from there you can say, hey, come and help me.
Yeah, we get to try both worlds, see
Yes.
how it works.
Yes.
Okay, then I can make a motion that we enter into agreement of, Sheriff, you make the phone call
Yes,
with
I'll get
Callis for our temporary summer help, casual labor, whatever we call it. We can, in that motion, we ought to set the rate now.
Well, we've already set the rate. We done that in our reorganizational meeting. It's just a matter of whether they're
Okay?
it says casual or
Okay, well, let's announce the rate so I know we can make it.
It's $7.95 for casual and $10 for experienced help.
Okay.
I believe I'm right.
You're right.
Okay, then motion will be then for whatever the job requires.
I mean, unless somebody wants to change those rates, but
No.
technically, we've already set the rates at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, you just reaffirm it, because you
I
forgot the numbers.
didn't know off the top of my head, and I was making the motion. I want to know what we're paying.
Yeah,
now.
$7.95 and 10.
Okay.
And
depending on-
$10 for the more experienced help.
So depending on who we
So I'll,
get with
make that.
experience, we'll plug them in at either rate, right? Okay.
I'll make that motion then to enter agreement with Callis, and our chair will make those phone calls with the set rates of casual labor $7.50 and $10 an hour for experienced 7 months.
$7.95.
$7.95. Okay.
Okay, I'll second the motion.
Okay, Trustee Spellman.
Yeah.
Trustee Dillon.
Yes.
Trustee Houston, yes. Now, do we want to do anything about putting somebody in place tonight?
On the zoning, is that what you're talking about?
No, I want to...
For this?
Do we want to put
Do we
in...
have to formally name people, or just say we're looking at candidates? I don't know. How's it work?
Well, let me ask you this. When you did the employees before, did you formally make a motion to hire them? Well, then I think you have to do the same thing here, although...
Yeah, but now we got a company that's handling that.
Yeah, but
Well, let me ask you this, Artie.
Maybe that person doesn't want to go through Callis. You're getting that, we're going to hire somebody that doesn't want to be there, I think.
No,
Well, it is a little different than it's been, so we don't know exactly how.
Well, I guess the question is, are we going to get somebody here and send them to Callis, or are we just calling Callis and say, send somebody out?
Oh, I think we want to
Oh, no,
definitely choose.
we're going to, right, that's what we decided, we're going to pick our own person. We just don't know, because it's a temp service, I'm not familiar how you do it, you know?
Yeah.
Do you know exactly?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
You just-
governmentally, at our meeting, do we just say, do they have to be asked if they want to do it first, or?
I don't think you can, well, I was under the impression that you'd have to name somebody, but maybe
well,
not.
that's what we've done in the past. And I don't think that how you hire them, whether they are our employee or they work through a temporary service, I don't think that matters. And I've worked with Callis, and they're not hard to work for.
I guess I can't answer you exactly the legal questions. I figured we'd have to do it at a meeting, but maybe I'm wrong.
I don't want to hold up getting a person here, but
No.
I don't know.
Yourself and make the motion. And name the person that you're going to ask. Then you cover yourself.
Well, I know maybe everybody don't agree, but I would like to put Jen Moore back on. She can come in and do the job right off the bat. If things don't work out, she's not our employee. But I don't know of anybody else out there right now that we could go out and say, hey, come and do the job. You, Matt?
I agree.
All right, so we'll make, if I make a motion to ask...
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
I'll make the motion that we offer it to her. If for some reason she doesn't want to go through Callis, then she just doesn't have the job, But if she's agreeing to go through Callis, then she can get set up, and I would make the motion along with that Matt can be the person to
Are you
call.
going to set a rate? Is she going to be at the
Yes.
$10?
She will be at the $10. I'll make the motion that we offer it to Jen at $10 an hour to be run through Callis. If for some reason she doesn't want to go through Callis, then she doesn't have the job.
And then we reserve the right to look for somebody else?
Yes.
Okay.
Who's seconding?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Spellman?
Yeah.
Trustee Tillman?
Yes?
Trustee Houston, yes.
Thank you.
I will get a hold of her tomorrow.
Gotcha.
Okay. Appointment of the alternate to the zoning commission. We had 2 candidates, and that's all we got. I don't quite understand why we don't get more people interested, but we don't. So there was 2 of them. One was Sean Giblin, and the other was Ed Nemick.
Ron Nemick, yeah.
Ron Nemick, I'm sorry. We had their resumes, we've looked at them. Each trustee had copies of them, so what's your pleasure, people?
Well, I think the discussion was that I don't think any appointment should have been without 3 trustees here. We've done that now. We're all 3 here. The land use plan, Wayne didn't even get into that tonight, but I know he's going to be involved in that. It's important we have somebody on board with this in its infancy stages, as this thing grows. Land use plan. And the person has showed interest twice. The person actually belongs to a large population of, it was a PUD, now there's individual properties. Is that what it is, Jim, now at Deal Lake? Yeah, okay. So I would definitely add this person to the commission as an alternate position.
Are you nominating? Is that
Making
your
a motion?
motion?
Yes. I'll second it. Trustee Spellman?
Yeah.
Trustee Tillman?
Yes?
Trustee Houston, yes. All right. Now we come to a good topic. Credit card use. The 3 of us have had some discussions about we really don't have a policy about credit card use. We all would like to believe that everybody is honest and everything, or do we have a policy?
Artie, don't we have a credit card policy, or is it just
No,
that it's for
I've
you?
always clamored computer use, computer
No,
use.
no, credit card.
No. Oh, it's Ohio Revised Code 505.64, 504.67 covers township, the use of credit cards in a township, and it talks the language of how we're supposed to act, who we can empower to do them, and what they can do with them. It also discusses a penalty phase in that, and of course you're breaking the law. So I think that may be enough. I don't have a copy with that with me tonight. But, you develop trust over years, and I trust my chief, and I trust my maintenance guy. But 7 cards just got out. 7 cards have PIN numbers. How are we going to manage that is the question. Do the PIN numbers get written on the visors, and that card physically don't get into somebody's hand until they're using them? I think that may be a yeoman's task to try to handle 7 cards if you didn't have some kind of structure.
Maybe the chief has an idea, does he?
What we do is we put our cards in the trucks. In case, obviously that's where you're going to have it if you need it. And then, again, when we're down there, the firefighters are requested to get a receipt. They put once they get the receipt, they put the truck number, and that way we can look at the date that it was filled, how much, what truck was there, you know what I mean? And then you can cross-reference it with the ID on the card to see what truck was there, you know what I mean? So now I save all the receipts for the year. So anytime you want to go look at a receipt, you can come up to the station, I can pull them all out.
But we've never had 7 cards.
Yes, we've had one in every truck. So we've had...
Yeah, but it's one account now, right? With the PIN number, there's a PIN number, right?
It's still under one account, but each card identifies the truck.
Right. We never had one. We put them in each truck, but they didn't identify that specific apparatus.
Yeah, it's
So when
not that difficult, I think.
No.
It's just that we were pinpointing it so that we can tell which
Correct. With the
truck uses which amount of fuel. The problem is every firefighter doesn't have to know the PIN. Somebody have to put the PIN in the truck so that whoever's using it.
Well,
That's all.
and again, I mean, so if this has a specific PIN, then it has a specific PIN, but what we had before, everyone had their own PIN. So like mine was a specific number, so I'd have to punch in my PIN, and I was the only one that had, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that was based on a user, not on a truck.
Well, then,
It was a truck card.
it was a truck card.
Whoever
each
got
one.
the gas at the gas
Yeah,
station
it was-
had to put in their individual PIN,
And then
and it was recorded that, like, if I drove 41 on the fire, and we needed fuel, and I went to the station and Bob wasn't there, when I swiped the card, I put my PIN in, and then they knew, 4:35, Tim Ramsey was the one that got gas in 41 on April.
Yeah, but this is the truck.
Well, it asked for the odometer reading.
Yeah.
So when you put the odometer reading, you can look at that, what truck has that odometer reading.
Oh, that's just another step, but the reason we got all these separate cards was so we can definitely look at a separate invoice. So you're kind of right,
It's the
but
same thing, I mean, we have...
The only difference now is you only got one PIN number.
Each
Each
card
card,
has
but what they're saying is they had individual
Right.
per person,
Right.
where we don't have that now. Now you're only going to have one PIN number per card.
Oh, okay, I got you.
yeah. So each card, the PIN number would have to actually be in the truck, because you can't expect every firefighter to know every PIN number for every card, right?
Correct.
So it would either put in the truck somewhere. and
Right.
It only works. But what Tim was saying was a good idea, but the reason we did this was to get an easier system so we can see
Well, there was
when somebody uses one card, it's definitely going for that truck, so.
Yeah, there was some complaints that, well, I don't think you got charged right and one thing and another, so we decided we'd have individual cards for individual trucks, so there can't be any of this. I don't think I put it in mine, and back and forth. It's to try and, the whole idea this year is we're trying to get everything so that we know what costs what. That's the biggest thing.
Well, the other thing about this, you said on the odometer, is there any way, how many gallons, how many miles, is there a way to check that by that? Let's say if we were mowing grass and we used 400 gallons of gas mowing in June. I scratch my head, because somebody could go down there and somebody could put gas in their own vehicle. I'm not saying anybody, I want to trust everybody.
Well, the only thing is, if you did that, then you'd have to put obviously you'd have to put the odometer reading in. Somebody'd have to go to great lengths to, you know what I'm saying? It would take,
How many people have been killed in the last couple of years just trying to get copper out of houses?
well, yeah, but
When they do silly things over $4.30 a gallon.
yeah, and I don't know, I guess you can find a way anyway, you know what I'm saying? If you had one card and one person that controlled it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, where do these cards go when we're not using them?
Well, they're kept in like I said, they're kept in the apparatus. Each apparatus has their own place for a card. We have notebooks and stuff that the cards are in. So,
Well,
There's a way of checking it. Without doing a fuel log, I'm all for it if there's a way to check it.
well, as far as the fire department goes, anytime you want to, I have the receipts of every fill we've had, so we can, if there's an issue, we can cross-reference what was spent and what was, you know what I'm saying? So I have receipts for every, fuel.
I know we're getting to where we know what truck bought the fuel, just know how much fuel we're using in that truck. You know what I mean? And if you have 10
Right.
fires this week, you get to 10 of them. I got that.
Right.
But
well, and the other thing is you can't really necessarily use an odometer reading, because when you got a fire truck setting, like when it was sitting over there at Baird's for 10 or 12 hours,
Right.
there wasn't a mile going on it.
Right.
But yet, we went through a lot of fuel.
That's right.
So you can't necessarily,
Yeah, they put hours on, not miles.
yeah.
Right.
I spoke to the gentleman at the company that these cards come through, and the billing will be such that it will be tanker, squad, maintenance truck. So I will then forward to you and to Brian a copy of that billing and you verify it. How's that?
That's perfect.
Because you keep your receipts. Now,
Right.
Matt gives me his.
Great.
So I was matched his up to the billing, okay? But I will forward a copy to you and to Brian. How's that for check and balances?
Well, I'm going to add one more.
Go ahead.
Any trustee that sees something that they don't like has the right to call whoever and question, and not to try and make anybody mad, but that is our right, and as protecting the township's money, we have that right to do that. So if somebody gets a phone call, I don't want them to feel like, we're picking on them or anything like that. It's just,
That's fine. And we'll have a chance to see the same ones you do.
Yes.
Yes,
So we can
because
look.
I'm not sure if they're mailing physical copies or if they're emailing to me, but the ones that I've had emailed, I have forwarded to you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. In fact, there's a fax.
The biggest problem back to is you figuring out a way to put the PIN number inside the truck so
That's not a big deal.
Okay. You just have to do it, that's all. So
Yeah.
we don't want a firefighter using a card for another truck that blows
Right,
the
I
whole
know what you
system.
mean,
Yeah.
yes.
As long as you get that mission accomplished, it's good.
It's an easy.
And here's all final discussion up. There's something that says Ohio Revised Code, and they just didn't have it for wasting ink and paper. It says 505.64. That should be our policy. I'll get copies, enough of them, out to everybody. Whether it acts as it's just a mind that says it's a deterrent from being excessive or being reckless. So I don't think we need one. When Ohio Revised Code, that's what we live by. So I can get those out. I'll share those with you as soon as I can. Chief, I know you'd be willing to take a hand. I'll make 10 copies and put them up in the station.
okay. Okay. Next regular meeting, May 14th, 7 o'clock.
Can I entertain another date? Push it back. Yeah, but I'd like to push it back 1 week if we could, if that works for everybody.
What, the
21st?
7th?
Whatever,
the
7 days,
21st?
yeah, 21st, yeah.
Oh, sure. Whatever you decide.
521?
Yeah.
5/21, 7 p.m.
Can do it.
Thank you.
We'll advertise, post it out there best we can. That good with you, Wayne? Your chief?
We'll have to put a notice in the paper
Yes.
because
I
we're
will.
changing our regular.
I'll call the agenda.
Okay.
Okay, anything else from up here?
No.
Okay, for the good of the order, there was a suggestion at the last meeting that we change our direction, so we're going to start at the back of the room. Kevin,
I
anything?
sat back here so I could go last. I'm going to go front.
April Fool.
Speaking for WRBO, the Youth Baseball League for the community, we want to thank the trustees for letting us use them fields. Like Artie, you guys always suggest they are for the community. We are putting a lot of time and money into these fields the last few years. As of right now, we put probably 3 loads of infield dirt on those fields last fall. They're settled in. We've been working on grading them. April 19th, those fields will be graded and be ready for use. We don't want to push it. We're taking our time. We want to make sure they're dried and they're done properly. We probably could sneak it in this week, but we figure we'll give it 1 more week so they dry and get done properly. So, the grading. Next Tuesday at 9 a.m., I'm meeting with a Youngstown Fence Company. We'd like to raise the left field fence on field 11, which is the backfield with the lights. We'd like to raise it up to 15 feet and then maybe move the right field fence back. This will allow the older kids to also play those night games on that field. I'll get a price on that. Between WRBO and I think Ellsworth trustees, we could probably get that accomplished. Right now, the older groups and back to the fire department tournament we did for softball, we lost quite a few softballs because that field's just a little too short for adults to even play on. And so...
Not to interrupt you, Kevin, but
The new trustees, and it was before I was a trustee, that discussion when I was over help volunteering to help on those fields, that was a discussion at that time to make that more multi-purpose use. If that fence would have been like Fenway Park, you guys ever hear that's where Boston, they have the Green Monster. The idea is making that left field fence high and then moving that fence out. It also accomplishes that you can use that whole field instead of a baseball fence right in the middle of it. And now you can have, I'm not going to say the word soccer field, another football field that it can be used in that length then too. So if that would move back.
My only question is, being it is township property, do we have to make any kind of motions to allow them to change stuff?
We'll come to the board for
Yeah.
Before you do it?
Before we do anything, yeah.
Believe me, it'll be our decision, and it's just, I think we're pulling the common thread on a pretty good idea, and you guys, I think we should all be part of that planning.
I didn't know how soon you were going to do this.
It's just all in the planning. Right
Okay,
now.
all right.
I'll get some prices.
The feasibility, yeah.
Well,
See what it's like and what can be done.
I don't want to hold you back.
Yeah. With the newer and younger board in place with WRBO, everybody's, in the past it just seemed like bring money in and spend money. We're really looking to improve ball fields now. We put a ton of money into Berlin fields last year, putting a lot of money and time into Ellsworth fields this year. That also includes the field number 7, which is in front of the elementary school. We kind of lumped that into Ellsworth Park now by default, and so we're moving in the right direction. And also, we'll sign the hold harmless clause tonight, so we're in good shape. Everything's moving good. We actually had more kids sign up this year than we've had in a long time. So.
Yeah, we want to be every part of that planning of that discussion about that. That's 2003, 2004, Kevin, so it's been that long of an idea, guys. You're just hearing it, but we want to be every part of that discussion, don't we?
Absolutely, yes.
So thanks again.
You're welcome. Thank you for what you do.
Yeah, for being very
Volunteers need a good thank you, too.
WRBO had to be a dig out of the ashes, and Kevin, you've done a good job to make it respectable, and
They just make me come to these crummy meetings.
you saved Larry.
Ramsey.
Yeah, I got a couple things. A couple things are for Matt. If we're getting a price on carpet for the hall, how about maybe replacing the mushroom carpet we've had for the past 10 years in this place? I mean, I think we got the drainage problem fixed in here. Maybe get a price on replacing this. Doesn't look too good for the town hall to have that. That's my first thing for Matt. Second thing, I was in a fire station the other day by the back door. I don't know if you know about this, but the roof the water was pouring down the wall.
I've been in conversation with the roofer. We've been playing phone tag, and I had to talk to him today personally. We're on his list. He's the same gentleman that came last year. I took care of him. But, he should be here next week, and we'll get it rectified.
Plus, you and Kevin were on the roof last year.
We sealed. We put about 155 gallons of sealer on all the roofs last year. So we did our maintenance before the weather turned.
Right.
But
It was
I think
extreme coming down that back.
Well, believe me, I walk through that fire station every day, if not every other day, and I see it. And I called him, even when everything was still frozen.
Okay.
So, but we've been back and forth, and we're on it. We're going to get it taken care of.
Wayne could, and the front corner by the sidewalk there, Wayne could tell you, it was dripping, and it was like a sheet of ice out there.
A lot of it was just ice, too. The other thing was the downspouts were frozen.
It might have been.
And because the ones on the west side of the fire department, they were bubbling up as we had a couple warm days. And I thought we had, broken pipe or plugged. And I actually caught Bill one day, and he goes, well, those go to the pond. He goes, they're probably frozen. If not frozen, they're frozen. The end of it is frozen at the pond.
Right.
He goes, I'm sure it'll be fine. And sure enough, that's what it was.
Okay.
So I think we just had such an extreme winter.
The other thing with the fire department, the floor drains in there. The trucks carrying the salt in and stuff like that. And then this time of year, get grass fires, go off-road. We were in there washing a truck the other night, and it's been an ongoing problem. We try to keep them clean, but the floor drains, I think we need to actually maybe have them pressure jetted or something.
Last year I had Morris come in. 5 out of the 8 drains in both buildings were clogged. And we did the floor drains last year
Okay.
in there.
I know
But
that.
we're still, I can call them again and we can, get them, Roto-Rooter can pressure it out. That's not a
That
problem.
closest one between 47 and 41, that one there for some reason, probably because most of our car accidents and grass fires and stuff like that, that's the trucks that we use. That one there, for some reason, that front drain towards the bay doors always has 2 or 3 inches of water sitting in it.
Have you, well, there's also a lip on that.
Right, I mean, even if you take the cap out, you can